Welcome, everyone, to Live with the Infidel Guy. I'm your host, Reginald Finley. Well, if you haven't been to the site in a while, you need to be there. I've totally revamped the site. I have, actually, you can win a Darwin fish or an evolved fish. All you have to do is join us in the chat room, and I'll pick someone at random every week, 2 people, to either win a Darwin fish and an evolved fish, or an evolved fish. If you call into the show to speak to our guest, you'll also get a chance to win a Darwin fish or an evolved fish. So go ahead and participate if you want to get those free items. Also now, I'm involved in a rotating banner program, in which send me your URL and a banner, and I would love to have you on my website so that everyone can see that there are many more of us out there than people believe. Also, Acharya S. now, me and her working together, she shall now have her own show, and it'll be called Acharya's Corner that I am sponsoring, and that should be very interesting. I know I promised you guys that I would get the 800 number in, but I have not gotten it in as of yet. That's not my fault. That is the phone company and the weather, but I will get that in as soon as I can. But for now, what you can dial in when you want to ask the guest some questions, you can call 404-691-5592, and I'll make that announcement again later on during the show. Also, I'm looking for some server space here. I would like to keep my archives up and going as long as possible. So if you have any free space out there you're willing to donate, please go ahead and do that. I'm also looking for some graphic artists to help me with my my banner. So give me an email at infidelguy@aol.com. Well, you know, this holiday season is full of the Christians just reminding us that Jesus is the reason for the season. And they utilize this fictional Jesus character as an example of absolute morality. Now, the Christian right holds that Christianity is the utmost moral standard in the world. Well, I have some guests here to debunk that. With us, I have G. James Stewart. He is the author of Immorality of Christianity. And also with him, I have his wife. I don't know exactly what you want to call herself, but and what's your name? Julie Summers. That's right.
Yeah.
I knew that. And I have Julie on board with us as well, and she set up this whole thing, and we're going to have a great time tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reginald. We're glad to be here tonight.
That's great. Well, and I'm glad to have you on. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. Now, I want to know a little bit more about the background of G. James Stewart. By the way, listeners, his name is Greg James Stewart. And Julie, what is your relationship, and how did you get started? Were you believers for a long time, or forever, or did you just become non-believers? Or you consider yourself atheist, etc.? I'd like to know more about your background and what inspired you to write this book.
Well, as far as the two of us, we actually met in a debate chat room, a religious chat room, and Julie was from San Diego. I'm up here in Washington, and we hit it off right away. And one thing led to the next.
And we consider ourselves life companions. We've discussed the idea of marriage, and both of us have an agreement about the institution of marriage coming from religion and its intents and purposes mostly to control sexual behavior.
Okay.
And that's something that we're also working on. But as far as our commitment, we don't need or feel the need to have a state sanction it or priesthood sanction it. Our love comes from ourselves. And this is part of the moral problem Christianity holds to, is that two people cannot love each other and have it be moral unless it is sanctioned by their God. And consequently, that can relate to gays, homosexuals, as well as people, heterosexuals that cohabitate. So essentially, in the Christian community, we're living in sin, but we certainly don't feel that way.
Yes, and we've been punished for it on several occasions.
Punished?
Yes.
Julie was once fired from a job because she was living in sin with me.
No, really?
Yes, I had a Christian, a very flaming Christian, I should use that term. She was always pressing her religion onto me, and I was never receptive to her. And my companion here was in the hospital ill, and I wanted to go see him. She didn't want me to, and I did, and she used that as an excuse to fire me. And, she had her agenda.
Wow. I mean,
she wanted to have a Christian office, and she knew I was not following God's will, and according to her, wanted to clean house, so to speak. And I was the downfall from that.
Okay, now this is my question: how did they even all know about that stuff? How did they know what was going on in your personal life?
Well, because when I went for my job interview, my fiance at the time, which was pretty safe to say,
right,
and they hired me knowing this, but I think it was her intention to convert me out of my sinful relationship. She even offered to have me go live with her. It was kind of freaky that way, but
that's terrible. So
that's just one of the examples of how Christianity is pushing their morals onto society. And as atheists, and we use the term atheist as opposed to a theist, so we have a little bit of a different perspective on atheism ourselves. Personally, we don't hold that we have no spiritual life or no spiritual element to our existence.
Okay.
Where atheism, we know, and humanism, we know, we understand that they feel this is the life, when it's over, you're done with.
Okay.
But we also, in commenting that we have the inalienable right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, that doesn't just apply to our physical life. We can even apply that to our spiritual life, that we can say we have a spirit and it isn't owned by a God. So our physical life isn't owned by a God, and we're morally responsible for our behavior. And our spiritual life, or how we are in our spirit, isn't dictated by how we behave in our physical life, so that when we die, we're either cast in hell or we live in the realm worshiping a God. We don't know what will happen. Unknown out there. So we're not limiting our own perspective on these things by saying, atheistically, when we die, that's it. Why have limitations?
Right.
Anyway, so that's just how we differ. But
okay. And how long have you all been non-theists?
Well,
I'd say about 12 years for myself.
Okay.
I was a practicing Mormon for almost 20 years, and it's been the last 4 years that I've really said no to God worship.
Wow. Okay.
Owning my own mind and my own life.
So I'm sure you're writing a book as well, then, huh, Julie?
Well, I'm not writing it yet. I have one in the works. It's called Divorcing God. And I'm hoping that the gist of it is really going to be focused to the feminists, and that they are angry at men for the things that men do. But I'm going to point out that it isn't really men that are our enemies. It's the language of God worship that women especially need to free themselves from, because they've been oppressed for thousands of years.
Okay. Well, Julia, how much of a role did you have to play in the creation of this book?
Well, I was a support person, essentially. Greg here, he wrote the book. It was his idea from the beginning. And he set down the parameters of what it was he wanted to say.
Okay.
And I did the typing and editing, but every part of the book was what he wrote.
Okay. Okay, well, Greg, why this book?
Well, I would say mostly in part because the right-wing religious groups have been busy lately trying to do away with our constitutional rights. Maybe I can quote from Ira Glasser, the head of the ACLU, where he says, "We live in the most dark and foreboding times because of this. The moral climate in our country and the surge of Christians into the political arena, from school boards to our new born-again leader in office, George W. Bush.
Mm-hmm.
George.
Yeah. And we feel that our democracy is in jeopardy because of the Christian church wanting to impose its moral code on us, so that with the idea eventually every knee will bow and tongue confess that Jesus is Lord, and will...
That sounds almost like a torturous thing, though, doesn't it? Like they always tell you, well, you'll know in the end, your knees will bow and you will confess. It's almost as if there's no difference in saying, well, that's okay, Stalin will be here in a few seconds, and you will do what he tells you to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, well, why is Christianity immoral? I mean, what's wrong with a little bit of harmless prayers, and what's wrong with a little bit of trying to instill morality in the school system? I mean, why is Christianity immoral?
Well,
is Christianity all that bad?
Yes, we believe it teaches and supports the offensive and hostile ideas of elitism, ignorance, superstition, sin, shame, guilt, evil, passivity, righteous murder, human sacrifice, cannibalism.
Cannibalism.
Yes, the eating of Holy Communion, the eating of the Lord's body and the drinking of His blood. Slavery, oppression of women.
Okay.
Genital mutilation, child abuse.
The list just goes on and on, doesn't it?
It goes on. And yes.
Fear, intolerance, vengeance, jealousy, greed, genocidal murder.
Whoa.
Yes, all these things come from the pulpit of Christianity.
We firmly believe the fruit of Christianity is the book of Revelations. The world gone totally mad by the insanity of preaching this kind of nonsense to humanity. And that the fruit of it is actually going to work out in the destruction of the human race eventually if it keeps going this way.
That's why we put a picture of an atomic bomb on our cover, right under the title.
I was going to ask that.
And the scripture that we use from the Bible is towards the end of it, and it says, "For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." And that's from Zephaniah 3:8.
Okay.
And I raised my children in a religious environment, and my daughter called me up and said, "Mom, where's that scripture?" And I said, "Well, it's in there right behind Isaiah." The thing is a lot of Christians don't understand their own religion, and they're going passively because they think it's the right thing to do. They don't know what it is that they're actually doing when they're defaulting their life to this God.
Defaulting, exactly.
Worship, yes.
That's all they know.
Pardon?
That's all they know a lot of the times.
Yes.
Yes, and to note something you said earlier in the broadcast about this 'tis the season of Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, the joy of Christmas.
Yeah, the idea there is that this is peace on earth, goodwill toward men. But if you read the scriptures...
Matthew 10:34, I bet you're going to say.
Exactly.
Yes. You got ahead of it.
It's everything but that.
Well, we can read it out loud.
Go ahead.
Care for that? Or?
Sure, go ahead.
All right.
Have at it.
I'll read it. "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's soul shall be they of his own household."
So there's your Christian family values.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me play angel's advocate. Come on, guys, now. We know that what Jesus... See, we took that too literally. It was meant to be figurative. And what Jesus was really talking about is he's talking about if your family are not Christians, then he will make you turn away from them.
Well, yeah, that's very true. Because Christianity is an elitist organization. It is their intent to be chosen. They think that, like the Jew, who is chosen out of for Israel from God, that the Christian religion is also chosen by God. And every religious sect believes that they are the chosen one. And you go to a Baptist, you go to a Methodist, you go to a Mormon, you go to a Jehovah's Witness, and each one will say, we are chosen above any others, that we have the right and the truth, and we're going to make it good with God.
Yeah, we have a scripture for that. Deuteronomy 7:6. The Lord God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And
that was from Deuteronomy, right, from the Old Testament. And that's how the Jews divided themselves from the rest of the existence of humanity, that their one God was supposed to be the God of the whole world, all of humanity, supposedly. Well, we know that's not true now, but the Jews are supposed to be chosen.
Yeah, we don't feel that's any different than the thinking of Adolf Hitler.
In fact, they were so chosen that they couldn't have meals with anyone. They could not marry outside of their own community. These things were to be cast out offensive, which if you're roaming in the desert and you're cast out, what's going to happen to you? Now, in Christianity, like I was saying, elitism is what it's about, and it's to get the favored position with their God so that they get to go to heaven and everybody else gets to burn.
Which they see totally nothing wrong with that.
Well, you see, because they're not looking at it from a human being perspective. They have this veil over their eyes, thinking this is okay, but what about their neighbor? Their neighbor who they've talked to for years and years. As a Mormon, I used to be really encouraged to go out and preach the gospel and share the light and the truth with others. Well, I didn't want to go to my neighbors because I was then telling them that I was better than they and that I was going to heaven and they were going to go, well, hell or whatever.
Right.
Certainly not have the same benefit.
Yeah, I know the truth that makes you a liar.
Yeah, and I had Catholic friends, I had Methodist friends, I had even atheist friends, and I didn't feel good myself preaching this elitist doctrine to others. So I wasn't really a good Mormon missionary. So that's one of the immoralities of Christianity is their elitism and the preaching that they do to within their own churches, to other churches, and to the rest of the world. There's billions of people in the world who've never heard of Jesus Christ.
And they're still going to go to hell too, huh?
Well, they die and they're going to go to hell. Hey, not only that, which will bring us into even a worse topic, a more immoral topic, is what they do to children.
Okay.
A child is born into this world, and it should be brought in with love and acceptance of its existence.
Yes.
And
this is home, and this is where you belong.
Yeah, and nurture the life that's in you. But what does the Christian do? They have to defile the body by what?
Telling you that you're born into sin. You're born evil.
It's an evil thing. It needs to die to its nature and be born again into the nature of God by baptism.
Oftentimes genital mutilation to go along with it.
There used to be, for the males, there was genital mutilation to show that they were part of the tribe.
Well, excuse me, Greg, could you speak up, by the way, too, next time? You're a little far away, further away or something. Yeah, your volume's coming in a little low. I'm sorry, go ahead, Julie.
He has a very soft voice. I have a bellowing voice. So you see, what now, how this religion is perpetuated is that they take the child, the innocent child, and they put the language of first your sin nature, you're a sinful, greedy thing, dirty thing, because, well, thousands and thousands of years ago, Adam and Eve in the garden disobeyed God, and so now you, clean little innocent child, are dirty.
Yet the book of Ezekiel says that we shall not be punished for the sins of others, right?
It does, but that's not how this religion flourishes, because you have to take on you a sin nature, and once you do that, then you're going to have to seek salvation from sin. And in seeking salvation, you need a Savior. Well, this is how Jesus has come about. And while the Hebrews used to have animal sacrifices for the salvation of their sins, they had so many of them. We've read through them, and they're pretty graphic. They replaced the child sacrifice of the firstborn that used to be a practice with the firstborn lamb. When a boy was born from a woman, instead of sacrificing the child, they brought a lamb to the sacrificial altar and sacrificed the lamb. So,
which is a very old motif indeed, the sacrificing of the lamb.
Pardon?
That's a very old motif, by the way, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and Christians like to say that was a similitude of Jesus being sacrificed on our behalf. Well, that's just hindsight. The Jews didn't really have that teaching or preaching going on. They knew that the priest gave the laws that they had to obey and commanded that they were from God. And there are most laws that are against our nature in a sense. I don't want to say they're all that way, but most laws were against our nature, like sexual appetites, natural female menstrual cycles, coming of age for men. So
it seems that everything...
Argument with your neighbor.
So it seems like everything that we are as human beings, that nature has created us in a particular way, religion, and especially Christianity and many other fundamentalist belief systems, their goal is to suppress your humanity.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, those are the exact teachings of Jesus when he teaches self-denial, which is to ask us to lie. So I don't see the moral good in that asking us to live a lie, not be ourselves.
Okay, well, Greg, in your book, the two parables.
Yes.
You talk about the alien. I love that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. I had a lot of fun with that.
It looked like it.
I just wanted people to imagine if an alien being with a lot of powers came into our solar system and to our Earth, and what if he imposed those kinds of rules that worship me or face death and torment, famines and pestilences and hemorrhoids, anything, all the wonderful things in the Bible that God imposes on people, and with threats that if you don't serve me joyfully, I'll make you eat your children. Take a look at it that way, and who would sell out to that? I mean, outside of, I can understand people being terribly afraid and not wanting to be tortured or killed, but other than that, I can't see you loving a being like this who threatens you so much.
You're right, Greg. We wouldn't do that in reality.
No.
Yet, we move, especially to Christians, they gravitate toward this. It's so weird. You would think that if you want to have a fantasy, it would be much better than Christianity. I can think of thousands of fantasies much better than Christianity. But they adhere to that, and but it has such a negative, and especially I've read your entire book, by the way, and you've shown in here, you've proven to me that there's so many negative things that can happen to you when you have these fantastical beliefs on something that promises eternal torment.
Yes, and what amuses me is the hypocrisy of it all, that you're being asked to deny your pleasure here and now, but the goal is to get all of it. I mean, to get everything you want, streets paved with gold, and your lust and greed fulfilled beyond your dreams in heaven. But the idea is, we'll just deny it now. And I would ask whoever come up with that idea, well, if it's bad for me to do it now, wouldn't it be worse for me to do it later in even a more perfect environment?
Right.
Yes. Well, with the alien analogy, Greg brought to the reader's mind, by a very Christian method, by the way, a parable, just how this whole concept comes about through clever-minded priests who want to control a population and gain wealth and power through that control. And, of course, the primary method of control is through fear. And the priests that show Xianity to this alien being, well, maybe they get in on God's secret, so to speak, okay? And so then they get to do magic tricks in front of the populace, and, well, then the populace will do anything that the priest wants them to do, because there are natural things that happen. You get tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, fires from heaven and lightning. All these things happen naturally, and the magic trick is for the priest to say, well, that's coming from the alien being because you're not worshiping him well enough pay me your tithes or give me your animals for sacrifice, and he'll keep all that evil stuff away from you and you'll prosper. Well, throughout the Old Testament, this is how the priests managed the tribes of Israel to keep them in line with their God, so to speak. Moses, being the first prophet or leader, cult leader of the Hebrews, takes them out of Egypt, out into the desert, promises them land of milk and honey, but won't let them get there. Why? Because he needs to control and establish his religion.
And he is a brutal cult leader. When he brings the law to the people and they grumble about it, he sends out the Levites and kills 3,000 of his fellow countrymen as soon as he delivers "Thou shalt not kill."
Right.
Yes. Because those people were exercising their free right to worship as they saw fit, to bring their own spiritual experience into existence. It was against Moses' prescribed way of doing it. They wanted to make a golden calf, right? And they convinced Aaron to do it, and they had a great time worshiping. In fact, if you read it now in your natural mind and not in a Christian mind, you think these people are celebrating life.
So people didn't accept and love God because he was so wonderful and miraculous and loving. They did it through fear of their lives, through control and the threat of murder.
Right. You go to bed with your husband after having worshipped at your fire the God of your choice, and your cult leader has sent his army in and pretty much killed your husband, your son. They didn't necessarily do these things for the women. Women were discounted for nothing. In the Old Testament and in most religions of the world today, they are still accounted for nothing.
You know, and that's very ridiculous. I mean, that's like a scientist going out and killing people because they believe that the earth is flat. I mean, if you truly believe you have the truth and you know what the truth is, it'll almost be humorous rather than going out and deciding to commit genocide.
Yeah.
Right. Well, genocide keeps your religion in force. And that's what happens, and this is what's happened in the Christian religion as well. Throughout Europe, they put fear into the people in order to make Christianity the strength that it was.
We also have a bit of a problem with the moral premise of one of God's great prophets named Isaiah, and his prophecy from God that in the end days the Christians are to go out, break into people's homes, steal their possessions, smash their babies to pieces in front of the parents' eyes, and rape the women. I can't find any moral or ethical grounds for that.
Now, I'm sure some of my Christian listeners are saying, "Where is that?"
Oh, where is that? That's in Isaiah.
Now they'll say, "Where is that?" So you're taking it out of context. It's not in there. God is not.
Now they can say it's taken out of context, but if they read it
word for word
in context, that the Lord is coming, and He will gather His elect, and they will. There's a lot of stuff in between, but after you get past the stuff in between, they will do these things.
Okay. Are you looking for that now? Because I know they're going to say, "What is that? What chapter and verse?" See, they couldn't even provide it. But for those of you just coming in, we're with
chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
Okay.
Pretty much the whole chapter.
Well, hold that thought, Julie. For those of you just coming in, we're with Greg James Stewart. He is the author of Immorality of Christianity. And also with him is Julie Summers. And we're talking about Isaiah, right?
Right.
Okay. You found it?
Yeah, I got it.
Great.
Isaiah 13:16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravaged.
Well, of course. See, man does that. See, God didn't do that.
Oh, no. Hold on.
It's a commandment from God.
Greg will talk to you. I'll go get the Bible.
Okay. They love to say things like that. Also, Greg, I'm reading a part in here about, you say, well, let me just read it, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Imagine a married couple in a loving relationship. One day, the wife lies about the amount of money she spent on a clothes shopping spree, and the husband discovers this lie. The husband wants to maintain the relationship, but insists he cannot love her any longer for this infraction of law she committed. The husband considered the matter, and rather than forgive the wife her trespass, he comes up with a different remedy of resolve. The husband grabs their only son, takes out a butcher knife, and kills him, pleading his case to the wife that someone had to pay the price, and now that he's seen the blood of his dead innocent son, he is ready and willing to go on with a loving relationship with his wife.
That points out the absurdity of God committing an act to kill his own son and saying, this pleases me so much that I want to forgive you your trespasses, of which I take exception to in the first place. I believe I was born in this existence pure and innocent, with no fault, and I've certainly done nothing to receive the death penalty or be tortured for eternity.
But this is the same God, and this is the same God that likes to he likes the smell of cute little innocent animals being burned to death.
Well, not just that, but also virgin girls.
Yes, and even Scripture says he liked the smell of his dead son. That the Savior of that. And a guy went out and burnt roasted his own daughter on a fire, and God said he loved the smell of that as well.
I have the verse from Isaiah, and I'll be glad to read it for the audience.
It's a very long verse. It
is a long verse, but hey, it's worth it.
Okay.
Okay. The virgin of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Now, that's preluding it. Now, they're going to say, oh, that's just Babylon. This is old stuff. But no, Babylon signifies all the world that is not of God. Okay?
Okay.
Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. And who's doing the commanding? God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who are the sanctified ones? Who are the sanctified ones of God?
Who?
I'm asking you.
Oh, beats me. Who would that be?
Well, that would be anyone who is baptized, holds a priesthood or some ordinance of God that says he is chosen.
In the latter days,
speaks person for God.
In the latter days, the Christian is the sanctified one.
Yes.
I would have said that, but I didn't know if it was a trick question or not.
Okay, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Now, who would that be? That would be all the Christians.
Right, the Christians.
Praising God.
Of course.
The noise of a multitude in the mountain, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations, gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of battle. Now, who's the Lord of hosts? Jesus himself.
Right.
And he mustereth the host to battle. They come from a far country. From the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Now, howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
Okay, we can end it there. The last paragraph, though,
and therefore we get it goes down. I'll go to 13. It says, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chaste robe, blah, blah, blah. Everyone that is found by his host, his army, shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword, meaning me being his wife, my husband's wife. And this comes to 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravaged. Now, who's going to be ravaging the wives?
The Christians.
Exactly. That's the command in the end days for the army of God, Christian soldiers.
And in Webster's dictionary, the word ravage means rape.
That's right. I remember I looked that up not too long ago.
Well, we knew people were going to want to look that up and say, oh, that doesn't mean such a terrible thing.
Matter of fact, yes, that's actually in a very well-known Christian. That is in Daniel Webster's dictionary, too, for the Christians who don't believe that, by the way.
Yeah, look it up.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay. Well, you also mentioned some things about the belief in demons, devils, and ghosts, and how that is a form of child abuse to continue to teach children about things that can harm them that may or may not even be, are not even true.
Yes, we firmly believe that as Julie was saying earlier, when a child is born in this world, it should be welcomed and assured this is their home, this is where they exist. And instead, the Christian is telling them this isn't their home, this world is evil. Put your faith in this unknown, unseen being, and then along with the threats of death or punishment if they won't believe in it, and then to add further to that, well, let's tell the child scary stories of devils and demons that are out to get them and destroy their soul and turn them into evil beings. And yes, I believe this is a form of child abuse. You look at almost across the board, almost every serial killer will talk to you about how they have these ideas of God in their mind about killing and
also they come from a background of God worship, or they've been indoctrinated in some way into the idea that there's evil in the world.
Right, and your brain can make you can begin to. I mean, I had a dream, a waking dream. It seemed real enough. I really thought this occurred, but as I got older. But I had a dream that I saw a little demon laughing at me because his minions were smothering me to death.
Okay,
it's only because,
that probably came to you as a child, right?
Right, I was about 12.
Okay, well, before you were 12, somewhere in your infancy, before you were maybe 3 or 4 years old, you were given a story about devils and demons.
And what they look like, exactly. Oh, yeah, it looked exactly like I thought it would look.
Well, yeah, because you're also given pictures. There's the art of Europe revolves around Christianity, and you cannot help go through your life without seeing some kind of art.
Right.
The idea of a devil with horns, gargoyles,
which were actually good things in ancient history.
Right. But our point is, if you were to go out into a field and cut off a horse's testicles and come home and rub it all over your child and say this somehow is going to appease a God's wrath for torturing you forever, if this person got caught doing that, they'd be most likely thrown in jail for mutilating an animal. Yet we can say, well, hey, a human being was killed on your behalf, so you don't have to accept any responsibility for life or your actions. You can put it all on this scapegoat or whipping boy, and that's the way nature's going to teach you.
Yeah, that's another one of the immoralities of Christianity, is that it teaches to be unaccountable for your own behavior. The morality of Christianity is that, well, God is in charge, and we're just vessels through which he does his thing, and sometimes we make bad choices, but then that's the devil. Take all that language out. You own your own mind. You also then become morally responsible for your own actions. And it can't be put off onto somebody else. And it can't be put off onto some mystical or magical creature out there. Now, there are things like schizophrenia, split personalities,
I work with them,
and stuff in the psychological community that the psychological community has not investigated how the language of this God worship affects small children.
I'm telling you, I've worked in a mental health facility for 3 years. So I know for a fact that it is so similar, it is scary.
Yes.
The visions these people have, them saying that God told them this or told them that, them acting upon that belief. And I remember thinking, I was sitting down one day watching this high-risk inmate, and all of a sudden it hit me. These beliefs are demographic. If you are in another country, your visions will be something else. So how can it be real?
Right. Imagine your neighbor coming to you and saying, a voice talked to me last night and told me to take my son and cut his heart out and roast his body on fire. Would you say, well, sure, go right ahead. That's a good thing to do.
Right. Who told you to do it? Or what's the password? Well, God told me. Okay, come on.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
That's the thing, is that when we apply rational, modern standards to all these ancient ideals, that Christians are holding on to.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said in the book, when you remove the veil of time from these stories of heroes and the effects of God worshiping, you'll find that they do not apply very well in our modern day.
That's right.
So we need to do something to save our modern society from this ancient barbaric language. We won't go any further if we don't. We will stay archaic as we are still today.
Well, you see, GW is working on that right now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he is. He is working on that really hard. He's starting another book on human rights and how Christianity is not in support of human rights in any way. This brings us to the introduction and first chapter of our book. We, as America, was founded by men who had been in England, and England was ruled by the king and the church for a long, long time. Well, these men in America decided when they were setting down our government, we got to do something about that.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to have separation. They didn't want the government and the church in league together telling the people how to behave and how to believe. So they did bring about separation of church and state. And I know there's Christians who are going to refute that, but they did. A lot of them were in the Enlightened period. There was humanism going on. There was different aspects of religion coming about. But the point being that they put into our Constitution, Bill of Rights, the inalienable right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, religion, Christianity, and most of the religions will want to take that away. Our government could not have been founded had they all followed the principles of Christianity that are found in the Bible.
That's right.
Because it does not support individualism, free will, or free thinking. It doesn't support democracy of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, Greg can say more about that than I can about our liberties.
Okay, Greg.
Okay, well, I'd like to share a scripture if I could.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Had the early American colonists actually followed the teachings of Scripture in the New Testament by the Lord Jesus, we would have heard, they would have followed this law. You can find in Romans 13, 1 through 7, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God, and the powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. This other verse, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme. So we would have had to obey King George and could never have revolted against him had we
been a Christian.
Yes.
Men committed to the Christian Bible.
Right.
Teaching.
And not just the Christian and the ideal, but following the teachings of Jesus, because these are the teachings.
These are the words of Jesus himself.
I noticed that, and I don't understand how can Christians do this? They pick and choose what they want, and I don't understand how they can do that. If you look at the book of Matthew, it also says that if anyone takes anything from you, just let them have it. And don't even try to ask for it back, or And I'm thinking, isn't that thievery? Isn't that stealing?
Christianity is the end of human rights. It's not the support of human rights. They support slavery by saying, let every servant be subject unto his master.
Of course, their excuse is that slaves were treated differently back then.
Well, slavery is anyone who is not free to live their own life and do their own will.
Well, the recent argument I've heard now is that they were indentured servants and they were actually paid.
Well, pay or not, if you cannot think for yourself or do for yourself, go where you want, you are a slave. We in America are nearly slaves ourselves because our society is getting to be so constricted by government and corporations that we are almost indentured slaves to the government for one and slaves to the corporate boss for another. But these things, we were taught passivity. Christianity teaches passivity. Don't worry about it.
Deal with it.
God's will. This is your lot in life. Pray to God for grace. Pray to Him for temperance, the passivity, and people will not say no to this kind of behavior until they start owning their own life and saying no to God first. So this will continue to happen. That's why I said if we don't change the moral ground or language that we're into, the Christian language now we're into, to a human-based life is the moral ground, not God, then we are standing to suffer tremendously by oppression, by government, by church, and by corporations. That's my soapbox for the day. I won't do any more.
Yeah, the Christians would say, what? But there is no morality without belief in God. How can
Actually, morality don't start until you start disbelieving in God. Because if you believe morality is outside of you in some unseen realm, then how do you acquire this? I mean, and just start with the premise: what if there is no God? What are all these rituals you're doing? What are they doing for you?
Wasting time.
Well, yeah. And when you say there's no morality without God, well, first of all, you got to ask yourself, what is morality? And morality out of the dictionary is doing that which is right.
Oh, okay. That's very...
Okay?
Okay.
Now then, you're going to have to find out where your language for what is right is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the language of the Christian Bible, what is right, first off, well, we could go to Deuteronomy, where God, one of his first commands to Moses, or instructions to Moses, was how to rightfully sell your daughter.
For profit.
So now, is that morally right? Well, if it's not morally right, then why did God tell Moses how to do it and how to instruct his tribes to do it?
Like I've heard, well, that's just the way they did things back then.
Well, that's okay. How about it's morally right to make blacks sit at the back of the bus? There's nobody.
Well, that's not in the Bible.
Pardon? Oh, well, yes. Excuse me, blacks. I don't mean to be. I'm just being the devil's advocate here.
No, I hear you. I'm being angel's advocate.
That was the prevalent mindset for Christianity for a long, long time. So even, I'm sorry to say, even today, blacks don't have souls. They're not redeemable, and therefore they're fit to be our slaves. That's the good that we can do them.
Actually, Jesus called us Gentiles creatures. Himself and dogs.
Yes.
God himself.
Yep.
Yep, Jesus himself.
You definitely need to send me that so I can post that as a quote of the day on the website. I would love to have that scripture.
Preach the gospel unto every creature.
Yes.
I will get that for you.
Great. That's wonderful.
Well, and the other thing that Christians, and I'm meaning all of Christendom, don't realize is that they are all Gentiles. Unless they were born out of the Jewish line. Unless they were born from a Hebrew line that converted to Christianity, they are all Gentiles. The idea, and Paul wrote it in one of his letters to the Romans, I believe, when he was telling them what a good Roman he was. Not only was he a good Roman, but he was also a good Jew. And the question about who is to be brought into this new religion of Christianity, Paul says, well, for those Gentiles who do these things by their own nature, they become Jew. They didn't become Christian. They became Jew by adoption of the worshiping of the Jewish God. So, but it's only a temporary thing because the Gentile can be cut out at any time by God's will, but the Jew is always going to be there, always going to be chosen by God first. And that's why Paul says the Jew first. Whenever it comes into discussion about how the resurrection or the favors of God is going to be doled out, it will be the Jew first and the Gentile then. So the Christians don't even understand their own religion. They don't even understand the epistemology of it. And they need to. They need to read the Bible without the preacher's voice going in and telling them what to think about it. They need to open up their mind and think for themselves.
It's so funny you say that, Julie, because I was watching Politically Incorrect last night,
Yes.
Michael Shermer was on there.
Yes.
And as well as another skeptic. She was she used to be on Saturday Night Live. But anyway, one of the guests made mention of exactly what you're talking about. One of the guests made everything you're saying. One of the guests was saying, I forgot her name now. I can't even remember it, and I can't even remember verbatim. But everything you're saying is just reiterated into what she was saying. I find that very interesting, and a lot of people, I hope they learn something.
I hope they do too, because see, Greg and I individually challenged the idea of God.
Mm-hmm.
He challenged himself. Maybe he wasn't so wrong. Maybe there's something wrong with this God, and he worked himself out. I myself challenged. Maybe it's not right to be discriminating against people by what they eat, they drink, they do personally in their sexual lives. Because from a Mormon background, I had a lot of that put on me, that these things were wrong and they would keep you out of God's presence. And my questioning that led to the breaking away, because I started using my own mind, and I started seeing these people were loving, caring, decent people. They just lived differently than I did. They weren't entitled to burn in hell because they didn't believe the way that I did. So I think as more people apply reason to their mind,
that's right,
they will come to the same conclusion, ultimately, that you and many other atheists.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, actually, earlier I forgot my thought, but now I remember now. There were two theists on this show. There was the famous black singer, I forgot his name now, Aaron Neville. And then there was another woman on the show. And they were talking about how Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were not written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That no one knows who wrote them. And
right.
but the
people who wrote Luke. Luke did. Luke was a physician, and he was a very learned man. And
he was a disciple of Paul.
Yeah, he was Paul.
Oh, really? Is this debatable among skeptics? And
well, it can be debatable, but it's a pretty it's better than saying we didn't know what Luke was. We know Paul had somebody with him all the time. We know Luke traveled around with him a lot. They were special friends. But Paul was a learned man, and Luke was a learned man, and that's why I think you find Luke's testimony between the other three,
right? Because
he sort of validates the other three, and yet you don't know where the other three came from particularly.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so this woman says that, and I would like some more information on that too. I guess I read over that again.
I'm not saying that everything he wrote is true.
Of course.
I'm saying that the possibility that he actually wrote it.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
Stronger than the others.
Well, just as the Bible, I only give the Bible maybe 10 to 15% credit as being, having some factual information in it. But this woman said, well, that's not what they told me in Bible college. And she was serious, and it's so funny. That's exactly what, they're too busy listening to the ministers, the pastors, the church, the authoritarian clergy. They're too busy and going to these I call them brainwashing schools.
Yes.
And they go to these places and they teach them all of this pseudoscience. And I hate to say this, but lies. They teach them straight lies about their religion. And they don't even go, they start at Genesis and work from there. They don't even want to go back to the ancient Assyrian and the Sumerian or the Egyptian. They don't want to do that. They just start right at Genesis, and they act like all of religion comes from Genesis.
Well, Greg has a favorite word for these kind of people. Mockingbirds.
Mockingbirds.
Yes, they're all mockingbirds. And well, I've gone to college. I'm a university grad. And I'll tell you, you don't learn anything in college. You only memorize.
That's right.
And you don't, unless you're, well, I'm an exception to the rule. I thought for myself, and I challenge professors frequently.
That's very true.
On, well, what does this mean, and what does that mean? Most students who are young adults don't do that. They just want to go from class to class, give me the A, B, or C, and give me my degree, because I'm off to do other things.
I know that personally. I knew a friend of mine who he had a master's degree in biology, and we sat down one day and had a conversation, and I discovered I knew more about biology than he did.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm sitting here thinking, well, where did you get your degree again? It was a respectable school. I really don't understand, but I figured that after doing some studying with skeptics and things, that in learning about the brain and neurophysiology, that there is a thing called short-term memory. And some people just have a really good knack at keeping that short-term memory just long enough to pass the test. And then, and that's it.
Yep, and forget the rest. And if they're going to do a report, it's going to be quoting so-and-so, which is all history, and you're not learning anything new. You don't learn anything in college. And I don't mean to put it down, because what we do need is to excite our students and our young people that with the idea of life ownership, they can choose to enlighten their mind and society.
That's right.
By asking the questions that the religions forbid us to ask. I'm a fan of Galileo. I had been since I was really young. But Galileo and all the other scientists early on tried to prove things scientifically, and the church came in and shut that up. So we need to give people language to open up to challenge what is, so that we can expand our sciences and the ground from which our society is being built. And to have a moral ground is really important. So we are dispelling the myth that Christianity is moral, that morality comes from God. We're dispelling it by proving with their own Bible that it is an immoral practice. And we can discuss that more. We'd like to have question and answer from the audience if they do have any.
Well, let's see what we got here. Well, unfortunately, no one's going to call in yet. I guess till this 800 line gets installed. But that's okay. Well, I can still have you on in the future. We have 2 more minutes left, according to my hour, my time in the show. How much time do you have?
Yeah, we got about that. I know you called 5 minutes earlier than we expected.
Okay, you got 7 minutes on your clock?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We'll go with 7 minutes. Okay. How can someone purchase your book?
All right. There's 2 ways to get the book. If they want to purchase it through a medium, they can go to Amazon.com and order it there. Use their credit card. If they would like, on our website, I have a page that gives our address. And if they have a pen handy, it's PMB 21 POB 5010, Ferndale, Washington 98248. They can send us a check or money order. We're offering the listeners a special holiday rate because they are listeners of Infidel Guy.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Or our book normally sells for $23.50. We're offering it to the listeners at $14.50, and it'll be a signed copy of the book.
That's what I'm talking about. All righty.
Only directly if they go through the mail. If they go to Amazon.com, they have to pay full price. All right.
I definitely need to get you guys back on the show. I like that. You're the first guest I've had who actually offered the listeners something. Well, once again, as Julie had said, if you want to call in, you can try to do so before we exit at 404-691-5592. And we'll be standing by for your call. Okay. Do you guys do any public speaking at all, or are you participants of any type of activism in the community?
Well, we plan to. We've been asked to speak at the local bookstores, and we're presently working that out right now with dates and times. We hope to. We're new in the scene here. This book is new, and we hope to expand our horizons a great deal.
Okay, well, I'm glad you appeared on the show, and I hope I can continue to support you. I will definitely have your book as the book of the month.
Well, thank you very much.
In January, and once again, I really got a lot out of it myself, and I had a great time. I'll definitely get back with you and I speak with you guys off air. Anything else you'd like to leave with the listeners before I sign off tonight?
Well, there's a lot more to come. We're working on other books, and we hope to help fuel a moral revolution that it may not end Christianity, but give them something to think about for a few hundred years, maybe.
Yes, take that stick of morality that they used to beat everybody over the head with out of their hands, and show that, hey, they're not any different than the rest of us. In fact, the practice is immoral.
And your website again?
www.christianmorality.com.
All right. Well, thank you for appearing on the show. I'm going to put you on hold here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, everyone, that was a great show. Once again, I've read the book. It is a great book, Immorality of Christianity, by Greg James Stewart, or G. James Stewart. Look him up. It will be the book of the month next month to allow you all to purchase it. Well, I'll see you all. Well, stay tuned. Tomorrow, we have a young, spunky Christian that's going to appear on the show. He's 16 years old, and I just want to give him a shot to express some of his views, and maybe we can have some people call in and talk to him, and also maybe I can have Massimo back on, which I doubt. I'm sure it'll be last-minute notice, but I think I could. We can all talk to this young lad and see what he has to say about his belief and why he believes as he believes. Until then, I will see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Good night.